What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're taking a look at the B52 ST412B cab. That sure is an unpleasant mouthful. That's what she said. Let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle. What I do is I take awesome high gain amps, cabs, speakers, pickups, overdrives, pedals, kittens, hamburgers, slingshots. I record them with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that could probably build a second house out of guitar cabinets, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks. Alright guys, so today we are taking a look at a cab that I did not know existed until I bought it last week, and that is the B52 ST412B cab. Now, I have seen hundreds of B52 cabs on Craigslist going for $150, $200, and I really never gave them a second look because as far as I knew, B52 was just a goofy Chinese budget brand. I know that they have a couple of cool amplifiers in the AT100 and the ATX100. I believe the AT100 was designed by Bruce Egnater and has actually a really good sounding amp, although it does suffer from some pretty serious reliability issues. But their cabs, I always kind of figured that they were gonna be cheap, and stupid me, I never bothered looking into them, so who knows how many of these I've passed up at ridiculous prices, but I have one now. So B52 makes a couple of different cabinets. They make a really low-end cab, which has the metal front grate, and I believe that that one is made of MDF with cheap speakers. And then they make an AT412 cab, which is, I believe, Baltic Birch construction, but it has their proprietary 120 watt speakers in it for a grand total of 480 watts of power handling. I have never played one before. When I posted pictures of this cab on my social media accounts the other day, I had a couple people chime in and say that they liked the speakers in the AT cab, so maybe I'll try and get one of those on the channel and check it out at some point too. But the ST cab seems to be very, very rare from what I have found out. Again, posting on my social media accounts, a couple people have chimed in and said that they've been looking for these cabs for a long time and they can never find them. I just happened to find this one on Guitar Center's used website the other day for $100. When I looked it up, I'm like, I know the AT cab, but I've never seen the ST cab before. So sure enough, when I looked it up, the ST cab comes loaded with vintage 30 speakers. So at $100, of course, I just pounced immediately. Baltic Birch construction and vintage 30 speakers for $100. Like what more can you ask for? So it showed up and I took the handle off. Sure enough, those vintage 30s were in there, and they are UK vintage 30s as well. So that dates this cab probably back to the late 90s, very early 2000s before production got switched over to China, except for a select few Celestion speakers for certain companies. So yeah, I mean, at $100 plus shipping and handling, I think I'm into this cab for 166 bucks. I'm not gonna complain about that whatsoever. I am very impressed with this cab's build quality so far. It is a bit darker sounding, and I will show you why. There's a reason for that. We're gonna dive into the inside of this cab. It would be cool to hear this cab through some really rad amps, but I don't really know anybody who has, you know, any cool amps. Oh wait, I have cool amps. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna check this cab out with a bunch of really cool amps. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the inside of this cab and see what the construction is like on this. See if it is a piece of crap or see if it is really just a hidden gem all around. All right guys, first note, the handles on this cab are pretty interesting. They are metal, including this. I don't know how this is gonna be to carry this cab around because truthfully, it seems like it might be a little bit uncomfortable to try and carry it long distances, but luckily this has the Ernie Ball style pop-in casters on it, so we won't have to carry it too far. On the back here, we have a stereo jack, and that is our 412 ST412S. Good thing I got the model wrong on the intro. It's in 412S, not a 412B. But we've got our 16 and 4 ohm mono inputs, and then we've got our stereo mono switch here. 8 ohm left, 8 ohm right. That's awesome. I always love when cabs have stereo inputs because I like to be a total asshole and run multiple heads into cabs all the time. So let's go ahead and just remove this handle and see what the inside of this thing looks like. All right guys, so we have the handle off, and this is like double braced with another piece of ply here. So this side and this side, on each side of the handles, has an extra piece of wood behind it. It's very, very sturdy feeling, very well braced. As you can see, here's our Baltic birch. I'll let you guys count the layers once my phone focuses. I'm not doing it right now, but it's fairly thick. It's thicker than the PV cabs that I typically talk about. So let's go ahead and get our flash on. And there is our Celestion Vintage 30. And as you can see with the label, these are the UK models. No made in China on the stickers. So that's very cool. These are 16 ohm models. And as you can see down in the bottom, we've got birch. On the front, we've got birch. Down here, here's this brace. This center brace is pretty interesting because it's got a wing on either side. So it's braced pretty well there in the center. And then this post, I took this apart on the other side, and there's actually a big knot on the other side where there's a big chunk of wood missing. So it's almost like they're using scrap wood for their center post, but hey, it's a budget brand. So, not every piece of wood has to be showroom quality, but overall, as you can see, it's braced in the corners. Yep, all four corners are braced here. And then this on the back, it's got this foam insulation type stuff. You'll find this in Diesel cabs, you'll find this in Bogner cabs. Some Marshall cabs have it as well, but this stuff will not only make a cab sound bigger in the low end, but it'll make it sound darker as well. So, jury's out on this. I just realized I'm filming this all straight up and down, so sorry for the roller coaster ride for you guys. Belligerent amateur cameraman here. But anyways, yeah, the back panel is MDF though. Again, that doesn't really bother me. I don't really find that as inferior. I think it's just, different. It gives a slightly different tonal quality than having a birch back panel. I don't think it's better or worse. It's just a little bit different, but we've also got this insulation material in the back here. As you can see, our speaker terminals are not soldered. They are quick connect, which is fine by me. It makes swapping speakers out a little bit easier. So yeah, I have no problem with that. I think the construction on this is actually pretty surprisingly good. I don't know what these would have cost new at the time, but I can tell you that if you find one of these on the used market, at least construction-wise and materials-wise, it looks to be of a great quality for whatever price that you're gonna find them at. So none of that means anything if the cab sounds like crap though. So let's go ahead and plug in the cab. Let's get some tones out of this thing and let's see what it's capable of. All right, guys, so we are set up with the B52 cab here. I have my usual SM57 pointed directly on the Vintage 30 of the B52 cab, right where the dust cap meets the cone. And over here behind me, we have 4 incredible amplifiers to test out through the B52 cab. We're gonna go ahead and start with the EVH 5153 100 watt EL34 Stealth. Yet another uncomfortable mouthful. Let's kick this in on the blue channel and let's see how this cab handles one of the best amps on the planet. That may be the best $100 cab I've ever heard. This sounds incredible. Sorry about the noise. My EVH is noisy right now. I'm not sure what's going on. I think it's hooked up to a different power outlet than the rest of the amps. Let's switch over to the red channel real quick. All right, so first impressions after playing through it on the EVH, definitely has a brighter top end and is very chunky on the low end. I attribute the top end to them being 16 ohm V30s. 16 ohm V30s or any 16 ohm speaker in general is going to be a little bit brighter and a little bit scoopier in the midsection than an 8 ohm counterpart of the same speaker. So this one has a lot of top end aggression for sure, and the mids are slightly more subdued than you would find on something like a Mesa V30, where the mids are going to be just a little bit rounder, a little bit more forward. Overall though, this thing has a huge bottom end. So if I have any amps that are hurting for low end in general, this would be a cab that I would absolutely consider pairing with it. So it sounds really good to me so far. Let's go ahead and go over to the Marshall JCM 2000 DSL, courtesy of the KHE amp switcher, which is one of my favorite pieces of gear that I've gotten in the last 5 years. This thing's incredible. Every time I plug into this amp, I'm reminded why I love it so much. All right, that sounds nasty. This amp, like I said, low end for days. I feel like it is missing a little bit of mid presence that I'm used to out of vintage 30 cabinets. It very well could be that insulation in the back. I usually, when I find that in cabs, I'm not a huge fan of it. The last Bogner Uber cab that I had, it was actually one of the older rear-loaded models, had that batting in it. I did not like it. When I removed it, I ended up liking the cab much better. As of now, we're obviously gonna leave it in for the rest of this demo. I may remove it in the future, but I feel like it's kind of subduing some of those nice mid guitar frequencies that we're used to out of a V30 loaded guitar cabinet. But let's go ahead and move over to the PV-XXX and see how that sounds. I'm a fan. It sounds good to me. Again, I wish it had a little bit more of those mid frequencies, but I think once we remove that inner insulation, the cab will come alive a little bit more. But overall, I'm loving that low end response. Super punchy and percussive, but big at the same time. It can definitely fill out an amp that is missing some low end. Last but not least, let's head over to the multi-watt dual rectifier. Huge low end. This cab is not gonna tighten up a fat rectifier, that's for sure. All right guys, last riff. We are back on the XXX. We are in drop C, and I have my Balaguer Espada here. Let's go. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for me today on the B52 ST412S cab. That is the model number. What did you guys think of this cab? Have you guys ever come across one of these in person? Like I said, from what I am aware of, these are fairly rare and hard to come by. They didn't make a whole lot of them. So if you have played this cab, if you've owned this cab, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think it is as well constructed and as good sounding as I do? Because I think that this thing is absolutely a diamond in the rough type cab. This is gonna stay in my collection all day long, 150 bucks. That's the price of a halfway decent pedal. And we've got a 4x12 cabinet. And as you guys know, the cab shapes your tone and the speakers shape your tone more than any other part of your signal. So I'm very happy that I found this. It's not going anywhere. I'm gonna hang on to it, and maybe at some point I'll provide you guys with some impulse responses of this cab and many of my others, so make sure to stay tuned for that. If you like this channel and you want to support what I do here, down in the description of this video are all my support links, including my Sweetwater affiliate link, my Eargasm affiliate link, and all sorts of other goodies where if you guys purchase something and help yourself out, you help me out at the same time. Or you can consider supporting the channel by adding your name to this incredible list of incredible people. I'm really good at words. And joining my Patreon community and supporting the channel that way. I'll love you forever, whether you want me to or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time. You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.